So just like cinder blocks, and you can't really.
Yeah. Different
So
size.
they couldn't leave a column in there. I was just thinking in terms of stability.
But yeah, at least people are doing it.
I
You
am,
can push off of it, so,
Yeah.
yeah, it's something.
All right, well, I'm not doing anything right away.
Okay.
It's wet. It's wet. It's frozen. Thank you. It's gonna be a fun job. I can't wait. Kathleen, how are you?
How you doing?
Awesome.
Well, that Patter's mom.
You think Shannon Doherty's?
Oh, yes, I heard that earlier.
At like 11.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really?
They were waiting outside early. I don't know what time they opened, but yeah, I heard they were waiting out there early.
We're ready to get started. First order of business is to determine their voting members, and everyone is here except for Chris McAleer, who said he's busy with the state's agenda today and will not be able to get here in time to be here for this meeting. So suggest, Jim, that you are our alternate in waiting and you are a voting member.
Thank you.
Next is the minutes from February.
Minutes are available here if you haven't reviewed them previously, or if you want to read them again. We got some hard copy here, just like old fashioned minutes. John? I have an agenda here if you like as well.
No drawings?
Here's your agenda.
Thank you.
I'd like to get a motion to approve.
So moved.
I have moved by Sarah, second by Scott. All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, let's move forward.
Next is public comments. Any matter not on the planning board agenda.
And for you folks who have come with some conversation that's informal, we do have you on the agenda. That's 7:45 or whenever we get there. And that will follow right after the public hearing and lot merger applications that we have for this evening. All right, so for public hearing, convene a public hearing. The members, voting members, are the aforementioned individuals. And I don't think I need to introduce any of you guys to any of these folks. Our procedures are very simple. If you have something that you want to talk about, please, if you're out there and here, you should be trying to get my attention. I will recognize you. And hopefully we'll move everything forward very simply, easily. If there's any issues, I will make a determination as to how we move forward. That's the way our rules work. Our first item, our only item on the public hearing is a boundary line adjustment, 32 Mountain View Road and Dundee Road. The owner is Nancy Lee Morrell Trust. It's V6 Lot 14 and Lot 23. We have drawings here to be looked at, and I believe those were also posted online.
Yes.
Andy, are you up for this one?
I am, if you're ready for me.
All right, please.
Okay, thank you very
Introduce
much.
yourself, please, to our general public here.
I'm Andy Fisher from Amnesty Survey Company, representing the Nancy Morrell Trust. I do have a, thank you. sort of a color version of things here. I don't know where it wants to sit. Sometimes it's better to have that. I don't know if this matters or if it wants to be seen by the camera.
No, we're good.
You're good. I have revised plans. The only revision being a correction that was brought to my attention that I had the wrong tax map number for one of the parcels. We had given it one when we merged the lots. Just we picked one of the 3 lots and we chose poorly. So the plans have been revised to reflect the correct lot number for one of the lots. Other than that, nothing has changed. So I'll just give a quick overview. So the Nancy Morrow Trust, Nancy Morrow owns both of the subject parcels. She's recently built a house on Mountain View Road, and that's one of the lots. That's the lot that is gaining land, and the other lot that's involved is a lot that we were here for a year or so ago. That was formerly Andrew Beal. So it was the Nancy Morrow purchased what I call the back lot on the former Andrew Beal property. So the pink is the former Beal property. The orange is Nancy's house, and the yellow is showing the area being adjusted and then extending out to show what Nancy's house lot would look like at the end of the boundary line adjustment. It's a big lot, so the lot 23 here started out as, or as currently I should say, 13.27 acres, and after the adjustment it would still be 11.07 acres. So it still has abundant density. The area being adjusted is really not, it's not very good land. It's more becoming a part of Nancy's house lot to give her a buffer out back, depending upon, to ensure that she's got a view out there regardless of whatever might happen down the line if someone does build a house in the other big lot.
So that's why this is so familiar.
So that's why, yeah, so we were here. So the Andrew Beal property, it was 3 lots. We made it into 2. We kind of jockeyed things around. And so now Nancy has purchased the big remainder lot. So that's really the gist of it. There's nothing, it's
just a merger.
It's just an adjustment. And it's, like I say, the land being adjusted is not, it's not great land, so it's not diminishing the value of 23 in any appreciable way. The beautiful all the open field and stuff that people would recognize if they drove by, that all still remains with lot 23.
Any questions?
So I'm in a butter. I just wanted to make sure that it doesn't affect our boundary line in any way.
It would not change
We're
anybody
right
else's
here.
boundary
This is
line.
looking downhill.
Yeah.
Can you
So
please identify yourself, please?
Oh, Friedel Bongola at 36 Mountain View.
Okay.
And I'm here from being my wife, Darlene Murphy. So.
Great. Yep. So absolutely does not change anybody else's boundary. It just changes the boundary between Nancy's 2 lots.
So she owns these 2, and she just wants to kind of a buffer so that nobody's gonna, if she sells this, then
Exactly. She doesn't have to worry.
She's
about
protected.
someone's house here. Yeah. Exactly. That's the purpose.
And technically, that's a landlocked lot. Number, whatever it was, the 2.21 acres.
The 2.21 acres that's not a standalone lot.
I'm sorry?
That's not a lot. So like this,
Part of that larger lot.
it's part of this lot
Oh,
now,
okay,
and it would
I
become
see what
part
you're
of
saying.
her lots. Yeah,
So
yeah,
they're cutting off a section of that lot.
exactly, yeah, so there's no new lots being created. And certainly nobody else's,
So,
Property lines being changed.
so there's no plans to build on that.
No.
Potentially, this could be built on, but then,
exactly, so she's built the house here, which certainly you know, because it's right.
yeah, it's a nice looking house.
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah, she's done a nice job, and it's a nice, so that's sort of her,
Yeah.
some of her view shed that she wanted to protect. But really, in here, this is where me buying it, this is where someone would build a house anyway. But she just wanted to make sure that she doesn't have to.
So in many respects, what it does is actually helps preserve some of the sight lines for folks for
Absolutely.
view, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Her buffer is, in a way, the
Her
buffer
buffer's
for
your
us is
buffer.
No.
You make it a little wider for you?
Well, there's still an opportunity, right?
Negotiations take place.
Any further questions? Anything? Do I have a motion to accept the application?
Have we been through the
Checklist
checklist? Yes,
has been completed.
that was good.
We should probably review it.
Yes, here's the checklist. Application is signed by the owner, that was yes. Butters list provided, yes. All application fees were paid, yes. They provided 5 copies and you have provided additional, we did know those were coming.
Yes.
They did tell me that those were coming. Mylar. Well,
Is in there, yes.
isn't it here? Okay. Title box for proposed line adjustment showing town and date and plan. Town and date. Yes. Okay. E95 address for proposed lot if available.
That
This
that doesn't
really
change.
wouldn't have it, really wouldn't
Right,
apply.
there isn't, there's the one for the house, but then
Right.
the remainder lot does not.
An ownership chart including printed names of all owners before the adjustment, after the adjustment. It's the same person.
Same person.
Butters names, tax map, lot numbers matching separate butters list, yes. We have a butter here, so all those were sent out. Name of zoning districts where lots to be adjusted are located.
Mhm.
Okay. Minimum zoning frontage requirement, not really applicable in this.
No, but I did note that, no frontage changes.
Plot scale at 1 inch equals 100 feet or better. North arrow.
Yep.
Yep.
Location map clearly showing center site location, adjacent name roads. Name, license number, address, seal, and signature of surveyor.
Yes.
Surveyor certificate statement. It says not applicable on this. Is that how you did, you marked this?
If I marked it as not applicable, I shouldn't have done it like that. I apologize.
Boundary survey including bearings and distance for all lot lines and current and proposed show entire parcels being adjusted.
Yep.
All zoning ordinance setback lines, building setback and year-round streams. Okay. Soil minimum lot size and charts demonstrating each proposed lot meets zoning minimum lot size requirements based on section C6 of the zoning requirements.
Yep.
Abutters names, tax map, lot numbers matching separate abutters list. Yes.
I presume so.
Yes, we have it. That I did check. Existing buildings and human-made objects remaining. Yes, they're all done. Deed restrictions, if any, a copy of deed and statement indicating no knowledge of deed restrictions. That's in here. Location of existing and proposed water supplies within 200 feet of involved lots. Show protective radii for all water and well streams.
Don't see any of that, but I don't think there's anything applicable.
Well, there's the well there, but there's the protective radius. This is an existing well and it would be an existing septic system.
Yes, there's a new, there was within the last 2 years, new septic system, yes.
And there's no dwellings on the big lot.
Correct.
We're good?
We're good, yeah.
Okay. Location and names of all existing streets. And then floodplain land, this said it's not applicable on the floodplain.
There's no,
Checklist is completed.
I move that we accept the application as complete.
Second. I have a motion to accept and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Application is accepted. Now I have to ask for a motion to
we approve,
approve. I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We're good.
thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate your time as ever, you know.
We appreciate your professionalism.
Thank
Makes
you.
our job easy.
Do you care to keep a copy of
The old stuff?
No.
No.
We get rid of all of
It's
them.
good paper, but
It's good, no, yeah, it's good wrapping paper, that's what I end up using. The L-chip fee, I don't believe was included in the application, so I've got it here.
She said everything was done.
I think that was the one,
Okay, I'll have Julie check.
if she already sent one, great, but if not.
if we end up having two, you'll get one back.
Yeah, it's not, it's better to have two than none, so I appreciate that, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Is this
sir.
online, so you can...
I believe it is.
Yes, it is the planning board.
But
That's
you're-
on the town website.
Actually, okay.
You're welcome. So again, it's slightly changed in that the lot number for this, I had incorrect. So that's correct. It's incorrect on that, but it's
That's fine.
everything else is.
Which is no big deal, but
So-
just in case.
Should be-
Unless it's your own. It's all very confusing. It was 3 lots, and now it's...
And you're gonna hang out for the rest of our later discussion?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
That's the last of the public hearing.
All right, with no further items on our public hearing is now over. We'll resume our regular meeting. Thank you, and thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Good questions.
Okay.
All righty, we have a lot merger application.
Yes. The application still says that it's still waiting to assign street and address. It says 0 Francis Avenue. Are you familiar with that? Lot, tax map R18, 40, and then R815, lot 41.
Do we have plots, maps?
That's all we have.
They're not required on the lot merger to provide a drawing.
Well, do we have, at least find out where this is?
This is off of Maloon Road. It's what's the name? Francis Ave.
Yeah.
These are 2 lots that are adjoining.
It's Francis Avenue that comes, Muller over the bridge and Francis goes to
Yes,
the right.
yeah. And the lots are all really small.
Teeny, right.
Yeah, there's,
We did a merger back there.
Yes, another lot has been merged previously, yes.
the square footage. So that's the 2.
What are the sizes of the lots?
Yeah, it's one's 0.29 acres, the other one's 0.33 acres.
Put them together, it's good for me.
And so they're gonna get pushed together and we'll have a whole 0.62
Are there any buildings on them?
There are no buildings on either.
Okay.
We didn't build it. So where did you see?
What is the lot number?
Where do you see it? Just
They're 40 and 41.
What, section?
They're 18.
It's R18, it's in the small, the blow
Yeah,
up.
it's off of Balloon Road.
There's a separate insert for that.
Oh, 0.29.
It's just past where John Peckowitz used to live. Just past that, down that road, side road. Trying to get that up here. We're talking a lot.
So this one would be one.
Where it says C next to H.
It's Dougie up to.
He's good. He's working. I don't know, working. He works with me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's good.
Oh, my gosh.
It's the R18 insert. I'll get that up for you. This is these two guys here.
All right. Sure. Why not?
Did you get it? Yeah, you got it. Anybody else need to see this? 40 and 41, right here, one next to the other. They're adjoining lots sitting on the,
Side by
It's
each.
interesting how.
they're really
The
teeny.
history is.
Yes, they are.
Almost exactly the same.
And this is not dissimilar from
Right.
an activity we did earlier where we adjoined two lots almost across the street.
Done.
And the lot number that will remain will be lot 40, 41, this group.
So how big is the property?
It's 0.29 and 0.33 acres.
Okay, okay.
0.29, 0.33, they're very, very small.
Quarter acre lots.
The frontages on these are 86 feet and 100 feet.
Almost make it to 200 feet.
Pardon?
Almost make it to 200 feet.
Almost, yeah, it's a little bit closer.
Are there any buildings on it, either one?
Not of which I'm aware.
Okay.
We have, on the listing, we have, if we can see the, no building on either property.
I move that we approve.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion to approve and a second. All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Done.
Okay.
How are we doing time-wise? We're doing really well.
We're doing really well.
Moving right along.
Okay, we've been asked to have a kind of conversation about two different things that are in some ways very different and in some ways similar, because they're asking about things that we can do to increase the density of housing within residential, rural residential district. And neither of them seem to be addressed fully in our zoning ordinance to the satisfaction, I think, of the requesters. So, Andy, I think yours is on first, so.
Okay. Great. Thank you very much for having me up. I'll come closer, I suppose. So, my basic question, which has come up a couple of times in conversations, and I think I don't see it clearly in the regulation, so that was why I asked. So it's doing a unit subdivision, a PUD or whatever we want to call it, on existing lots that have less than 200 feet of frontage. So, which there are there are several lots in Jackson that, and in other towns. I think this is a question that I'm finding I'd like to ask in other towns too, because I think it's not necessarily clear. So, 200 feet of frontage to create a new house lot, a new standalone lot. But if a lot has sufficient density for multiple units, but only has 100 feet of frontage, I just threw that number out, somewhere less than 200 feet of frontage, how might Jackson view a unit subdivision?
And what is our frontage now in cluster developments?
It's 200.
You're saying 200?
Yeah, it's two. Even though you have a cluster of houses, you have a big lot, a lot of it in the back, and just,
But it still requires
it's still got 200 on it,
Okay.
You're
So-
open to enter.
but not 200 for every house.
The only
Just
time
200
we
for the lot.
shrink down below 200 is for affordable.
Right, so but the situation here is we have a sort of a non-conforming lot,
Right.
but buildable, because it is a lot on record. And is that buildability limited to a single residence, or because it's as non-conforming for a cluster development as it is for a single residence,
Mhm.
since we have the same frontage requirement for both?
Exactly, yes. That's
That's the question.
that's the question, and sort of at what point would, 'cause certainly it's, if you put in a road, then you can, if you put in a road built to town standards, then you can create this frontage, but that doesn't always make sense. So that's the question is, so there are some lots, there's one lot, not to bring particular lots into the conversation, but someone was asking, we looked at a lot that had, I want to say 160 feet or so of frontage, but enough density for 3 units.
When you say density, you mean soils, appropriate soils and the size.
Yes.
But this would be a cluster development or a PUD, and so would not there be an association that owns the...
How big was the lot?
I forget exactly, but I think it was, it had somewhere in the vicinity of 3.5 times the required density for a single lot. So they could potentially have more than one. They could do a unit development with, a unit subdivision, because they've got the land, they've got the density, but they don't even have, I think if they had 200 feet of frontage, we could come in and say, we want to do a unit subdivision here, and it would, provided everything else met the requirements, the frontage would be met, it's 200 feet. But if it's a pre-existing lot, again, like you said, if some of these lots are either, even if they were, 1 to 3 size-wise.
But even if, for example, Andy, I'm not picking on the piece of property we're just looking at, but the Beal property, if that were 100 foot and entering into that back lot, it's got enough space. I have no idea about the soils, but
you could have multiple. You could have more than one.
So then the question would be, does that make sense for that kind of development to occur in that kind of a space?
And the alternative is you could always build a road into it,
Right.
create frontage, which does, I think, create more development in a way, because now you have separate
It could increase the
lots.
density, sure.
You don't have a single property with multiple units, you have separate lots, each with its own.
And the quality of the road has to be higher standard for the road.
Right, it adds to the cost of development. It's just that if the town is looking to sort of minimize development in a way, or to minimize density in a way, building a road into it is sort of
Similar to Eagle Brook.
the wrong direction.
Similar to Eagle Brook, although they have the frontage because they utilize it a little differently.
Right, it just take the same place and make it, without the road and the separate lots, and just you know, a cluster development or a PUD, and it's a little less carved up, I guess, but.
Yeah, yes, and there, some of the things that, like you mentioned, it's the way I see it is trying to balance allowing development without sort of overdeveloping.
Right.
So in some of these places where if they were held, and I'm not, this is just the discussion. If there, say there's a lot with 100 feet of frontage and enough land for, you know, whatever, 10 house lots or whatever, there could be some, the way I see it is there could be some balance allowing a cluster development rather than requiring a road, because with the development costs, if someone is looking to develop a piece of property and they have to build an actual road, they're going to have to develop it to maximize it. Otherwise, it can't happen. They wouldn't do it.
So the real question is why we have our rules set the way we have them set. And is the purpose really to avoid development? Is it to restrict? Simply to limit development in the rural residential district? I think in the commercial district it's probably different. But or is it safety oriented at all? I don't have the history to know what the purpose was in doing what we did. It's from an outsider's perspective looking at it, it would seem that it was intended to restrict development, to limit it. And yet your point is well taken that if you build a road, then you're going to overdevelop it within limits. I think the other piece around what we have in our zoning ordinance is that we have a soil requirement. Because the soil is so difficult in this town, you're not going to get a high density.
Yes.
Anyways, and that makes it pretty difficult to maximize and develop, and put a road in and get the kind of density that you're talking about.
Yes.
At least that's how I read it. I don't really know.
Yeah, and I certainly I didn't expect to come and have the board say, "Oh, here's your answer," unless this is something that has been discussed and there was an answer. So I guess
the right answer right now is no. But the question is, why is it a no, and whether or not the no is a thoughtful no or something that's been out there for a long time.
You're saying no, it's not allowed?
Right now, it's not, according to the way, if you read the way it's set right now, you cannot read that and say that a PUD could be put in.
Why is it different than a single unit residence? They're both non-conforming in the same.
Because you can't develop a non-conforming lot beyond the requirement you have a non-conforming duplicity, I think.
I just see it as just a
No?
single
Yes?
non-conformity. It's just they both have less frontage than they need, but it's the same degree of non-conformity, even though the development is obviously different, but he allowed that different degree within her. I think it's a legal question. I don't know the answer.
I don't know the answer to it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're good at point.
yeah, because and I think to your point,
It's never come up before in my memory.
and I don't think, again, people have, it's started to come up in conversations, and I sort of sat back and said, I don't.
It never came up.
No. So,
I'm gonna go back to the beginning,
you know, and there are,
just to the dark ages.
Never for me is only like 5 years. Never for her is a lot longer.
so I think there are a lot of interesting questions, and to me, I don't see that it's clear in the regulations, in that if we're talking about new lots, it's 200 feet. But when we're dealing with pre-existing non-conforming lots that are non-conforming, there's one non-conformity, but The rest of the size and the density is totally conforming. It's just that for whatever reason, Jackson and most of the towns around said 200 feet makes sense. Okay, but there are loads of lots that exist that have less than that, but they're big lots. And should you be allowed to have, one of the other mitigating factors being 2 units on a driveway.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, okay, so that's
going to be your issue, is the quality of the road and having more than 2 units on a driveway.
so that's a very, so that's a stopping point at 2, but would 2 be allowed? So say, and there's no, we'll only talk about the Beal property. That's not a property that was part of any of my conversations, but that being one that has sufficient density for more than 1 unit, if it were a unit development, but it has insufficient frontage.
I mean, our regulations say that you can't make something more non-conforming.
Right.
That's where I was getting,
Yeah.
yeah.
But would that,
But is it, I mean, it sort of isn't more non-conforming because you're not doing anything else that, to me, it's a lawyer question.
But he could put a second lot on the Beal property as exists, because you're allowed 2 per lot, maximum access by a non-conforming road. I mean,
But they don't have that.
no. They could put a house and they could put a ADU in there,
But nothing more.
but they couldn't put in a house and have them under separate ownerships.
Yeah.
I don't believe.
And no, we've run through this most recently when we just had another property that we're looking at on a private road where
Right.
frontage wasn't okay, and fellow wanted to build basically another house on his own property. And the only way he's gonna be able to do that was to subdivide. And so we've been very careful about ensuring that we're gonna have multiple.
We did talk about cluster development in that situation.
We did, yeah.
Problem with the zoning ordinance is we talked, remember, we used the non-conforming section was just sort of everything non-conforming with lot size, uses, non-conforming building setbacks and so on. And then we separated out for non-conforming lots, but here it was only for the case of where a non-conforming lot didn't satisfy the minimum lot size by soil type. And in that case, you could use the lot if you got a state approval for a subsurface septic system, but you would be only limited to 2 bedrooms.
Right.
In other words, you could have it's a smaller lot, and the soils are enough for a smaller system. And so you'd be allowed to do it, but we don't have anything about frontage, non-conforming for frontage. So I would think this would be, if you had somebody coming and wanting to do that by our present regulations, we couldn't approve it, but they could go to the ZBA
Right.
and get a variance to be able to build one house or to build whatever, if you've got enough soils and size to be able to do 3, then they could ask for 3.
And it would still be subject to all the other limitations, so
Right.
basically you're not looking at like 3 or 4 units because you're the safety issue around the driveways.
Right, so you'd be limited to the, although I suppose someone could request a variance from that as well, but that wouldn't be to you, that would be to the ZBA. So, I'm just trying to, the next time that someone asks me, my answer
It's complicated.
It's complicated. It might be allowed, but it might well take a trip to the ZBA to clarify it.
And I guess that's where I was coming from. I don't think we have the opportunity to just say yay on something like that.
Not with the
Yeah.
way it's.
Not with the way it's
it was written
structured,
out.
at least by reading.
Well, I mean, if someone owned a lot and wanted to build a house, that doesn't come before us
Right.
anyhow.
Right.
I guess this comes before us because
It's a
it's
subdivision,
subdivision.
yeah.
So,
A PUD would be
yeah.
subdivision.
So it'd be, I guess we would have to, it's an odd one.
So we would avoid We would avoid you.
You would curse me when I said it for.
You don't.
We'd
Back and.
kick the can down the road, as it were.
Yeah, so that's it, and I thank you for the conversation. Because at least it's not just me that's a little bit, it's a little bit uncertain.
No, we were totally certain until you asked.
Now
Now we're all uncertain. Thanks a lot.
Now we're all confused, yeah.
We're totally certain we're uncertain.
Yeah, but I think this is, I think it's, I've found it just in reading other town zoning as well, that I think it's, because I think sort of the cluster development thing is, they've been around for a little while, but they haven't,
Yeah.
they're not as common, but I think they're becoming more common because of it's a way to balance development and not having,
A lot of property.
yeah, so.
Yeah, but none of that's affordable, so. Yeah.
It's that's a whole other,
Exactly, yes.
yeah.
That cluster, since at least 85. According to
And
the,
one
So that-
question is, we call it cluster, but do they need to be clustered?
no, they just may be clustered.
Maybe it's a real hard word.
So I live on a non-clustered development.
You've got a nicely spaced out cluster development. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
I
I
appreciate
appreciate
your
the
time.
conversation.
All right, yeah, you as well. Thank you all for your time and your thoughts. Thank you.
Another chink in the frontage discussion.
You're welcome to hang around for this next one. Kevin?
Oh, well, I'm here with Rick Davis, and
Rick?
as you know,
Come on.
he's got a house, 1 and 2 family dwelling unit up on that lot where he lives.
Got the Lenny's old house behind. We bought it 3 years ago. We put 2 apartments in it. We'd like to put a third one in it because we got a 3-car garage is 700 square feet. We got to heat it because it's plumbing in the ceiling. It's kind of stupid just to leave it empty. And talked to the fire marshal. He said, as long as you got a common area and like a pole, for your fire alarms. Well, in a house that size, it goes up. Everybody's got to know about it. I'm going to know about it next door. So he said we don't need to get a sprinkle. We got a price on sprinkle, and if you have to put a sprinkler system in, you screw it. It's like 25 grand. And it's not. I mean, we're on residential water. Isn't like we're downtown, with a water system. So that's where we're at.
And this would all be for long term, so.
Long term, not short term.
Not short term. And as you know, there's less and less long term rentals here in town. If you take out the 2 major places, Dan Place and Wildcat Townhouses, you're pretty limited to numbers of single family homes that are rented, and there's one over here on Fran Line's place there by the gas station. And it's only getting worse, as you know. Short-term rentals, you got another 3 here on the list, which will bring it to, I believe, like 99 units in town now. I think that's the number, somewhere around there. And I don't see any other long-term rentals happening.
And so what's the issue with?
Because in the rural residential district, it only allows 1 or 2 family dwelling units, so you can only have 2 in a single house. So that third one basically reclassifies it as an apartment. So it becomes 3 apartments, and that's not allowed. It's only allowed in the commercial
The
district.
town's got this final say. That's what the fire marshal told us.
So there's definitely pros and cons to it, and
Can you add an ADU to it?
well, that's what I was kind of kicking around too. I was wondering about
Uses
that. But
permitted.
Yeah.
In the rural residential district are single-family residences, multifamily residential developments, cluster single-family developments, and the latter 2 being subject to approval by the planning board pursuant to section 8, an accessory apartments, section 9, section 8. Cluster, okay, so cluster multifamily developments, accessory apartments. So if you were then to make it 3 apartments, that would make it a multi-family residential development.
Is it okay that they're all owned by the same property owner?
Yeah.
It's a number of families, no road frontage, gee, it's a 4-acre lot.
You're just trying to dig the thing deeper, right?
Hey, it's got 4 acres, and it's got a big septic system, which Murray, when he did, he actually did it right.
Okay.
It's got a 1,500 gallon.
Yeah, what kind of frontage does it have? It must have the
Don't
200,
have no frontage.
what, the whole lot? Lot has,
Was that like a grandfather non-conforming?
It was built in 75, so that was before you guys started making rules.
our predecessors.
Yeah.
What year was the planning board first?
I was 70-something.
70, it was prior, but they really didn't get going.
Yeah, but the
until-
first time, what about the second time?
Right, we got this dissolved at one point,
Is that
came back from the dead.
Yeah, it's on the other side of the wall from the field.
So it's completely,
Yes.
I think there's definitely some pros and cons to it, because, I mean, you wouldn't want to somehow allow something like this, and then with someone like, oh, I got 3 units, I can do short-term rentals, like 3 separate units, you know? Which,
Limit it to so many square.
well, you could limit to 30
Yeah,
units or
there's
more
an easement.
rental, so that would fix that right off the bat.
There was an easement, and then we didn't, when I built my house, we had no frontage, because the way the old man it was. So then we bought swamp land. With we put that fire pond, we bought frontage off Harold Litchfield, which is the Reardon's log cabin now. We bought 200 feet of frontage. And then we bought the cabin place, like I said, 3 years, maybe 4 years in June. So we own.
The monopoly up there.
Yeah.
The old man sells it off fast, so we can buy it. But, no, it's basically my grandfather's land back. For 2,000 prices, it wasn't 75 prices. 10 grand, the cabinets bought that. I mean, Murray bought off my old man, my grandfather, with 10 grand for 4 acres.
But I think it's, you know, something that's good for you guys to discuss in the next, you know, meetings or whatever. You know, every once in a while I go through that whole thing, and I was just reading the section on affordable housing. And I'm like,
There isn't any.
I mean, it'll never happen now. And just, you know, I think it was a really good idea back then, you know, but now you read what's written in the zoning, and yeah, I think it's just, you know, revisit.
You gotta be able to pay your taxes, you don't go in the hole rent.
right, well, the problem Jackson faces is the property values are just so high.
Oh,
that
yeah.
No
Yep.
zoning incentive that we offer is ever going to,
Mm.
is ever
But
going
you
to
can't get a rental.
You know,
otherwise.
What's gonna happen
Yeah,
when
that's
Ann
it.
Peterson
You know?
leaves?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, with spruce.
If I read this thing correctly, you know, families dwelling units or residential development is an acceptable thing to do in the rural residential district, and it's subject to requirements for in section 6 around density, which is, you know, it's in terms of the number of bedrooms and
Well, we eliminated,
lot size.
it
and
was a
all the other
6-bedroom
bits.
house originally.
No, I understand, but there's a formula here
Yes, I know.
that would be required to be met
Mhm.
if you're doing a new development. versus whatever you had when the thing was built in 75.
Mhm.
But it's highly likely that based on this, it's a fairly good sized lot, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just shy of 4 acres.
Yeah. Someone would have to do the arithmetic on it, but it's probable.
And,
Yeah,
Depending on the soils.
Was it?
Pardon?
I think it
Depending on the
was,
soils.
Depending on the soils,
It's for you.
yeah.
there was, I think, 6 bedrooms, it's down to 3, it's down to 2 right now,
Yeah.
pending.
Yeah, he
So
demoed
so the
the
right
house.
answer is it should be, but
And-
again, we changed how we do things.
It's a 1,500 gallon septic tank, which was unheard of back in 75. If you got 500 or 1,000, you're lucky, you know? When Murray built it, he never put a foundation into the house, so he shorted it that way, and then he put electric heat in it, and oh. But, no, that's where we're at.
So the right answer is maybe.
Yeah. Well, that's what we've got, and, you know, it's maybe, you know, I mean, we're doing it, trying to do it the right way, we ain't sneaking in the back door and say, throw me on the mercy of the court, you know?
I think if you meet the soil requirements, you're good.
But this would be a board of selectmen.
Well, we
It's not-
stepped-
it's not a subdivision.
It-
We started with Dick Bennett, and he pushed it along, and they sort of dropped the ball.
Dick's on the phone.
Dick's on the line, by the way, here.
Good. Dick dropped the ball, but, no, I mean, he was all for it, but then it just got, you know, everything got
It was
crazy.
cold.
Kevin,
Is there a permanent pool?
Kevin, how would you move this forward?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's the holdup? Is it the,
Well,
fire?
we're at the point now, we gotta put a bathroom in a kitchenette.
Right,
I mean, it's already got the fire coated sheetrock, because it was a garage.
right.
So that's where we're at. Put another exit in, I mean, to meet all the, but it's like, let's see if we can do it before we, you know, actually spend. the money.
Right. Now, my question is, if you're putting another kitchen in,
Yeah,
you know, is that gonna change the water output, which would be affect the leach field? That would be the density component that they would have to pass, I would think.
yeah, well, the thing about it is like, we've done away with half the bedrooms. But
Right.
I know you got a kitchen.
Yeah, kitchens are what, you know, produce water, obviously.
You know, but people sleep in beds because it's
I
water.
don't know the formula. you know,
I don't know if I'm
you know,
ready, but I'm just saying.
But I just wonder, you know, what kind of, you know, stuff do we have to go to get this to go forward? I don't, you know, you don't need sprinkler systems,
No,
no, so you just need the density, I would think.
and you know, get the alarm so they're on, and then it's,
Wired.
yeah, well, Kevin's, you know, Harriman's doing it, so he's union man, and like the common area where where all your circuit breakers are, that's the common area, they didn't have a pole there, so if somebody sees something that shouldn't be, you can pull it and sound off everybody, you know?
I think some of the holdup was was questions on the fire code.
Yeah,
And the fire marshal's office has answered a lot of that.
yeah, between Kevin and Kevin Harriman,
And Jay got involved.
you know, Jay had approved them first.
But I guess we could, I mean, what's on record with the septic system?
I may have the paperwork,
Was, I
because
mean,
Mrs. Cabot kept everything.
yeah.
In her oven.
So I think-
We got a clean oven out of the deal, I mean, that's where our filing cabinet was, the oven. But I think, I'd have to go back, but I'll ask Gail, she probably has moved through.
Because otherwise we revert to the old tax card with the septic systems, and I believe.
Yeah, because I think, I'll have to check, because we got
I
a
think it
pile.
was 6 of it.
A lot of paperwork of everything they did to that house.
What was the original size of the house too, before you, I don't remember the numbers, but you,
It's a big house.
It was a lot.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
we took off
you
the
took-
master bedroom, well, it was all rock, you know, because no moisture buried underneath there, all your floor. We knew what we were getting, because I was showing it for Kevin Calori, because he wouldn't go into crawl space. So finally, we threw a number at him, and 6 weeks later, we owned it.
Lucky you.
Yeah, yeah.
The good news is.
But we tore off a dining room, a master, and a kitchen,
Wow.
and two bedrooms, 3 bedrooms. Well, changed, and got rid of electric heat too.
Now we went to gas, so we ain't any better.
It seems to me the hurdle that you have remaining then is to ensure
See what
that
the septic.
the septic
All right.
will work.
All right, we'll see if we get it on paperwork, and if not, it's on
And that's
file.
not, you know,
Yeah, we get that to work, I think, you know,
that I think it's probably not anything. I mean,
Yeah, that's why we come to the stand.
Is it a change of use thing though? From being a single family to multifamily?
We don't really have anything in our regulation that says, we do say that we have to approve it, but I mean, we have to approve it based on the fact that all the stuff is met.
yeah.
All right, so key would be the septic.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see if we got paperwork on it.
I mean, it does say the planning board's got to approve it.
Yeah, that's what I was,
Yeah.
So,
we
but
talked
the
about
basis
that.
on which we're gonna approve it is you would say it meets all the requirements.
Meets all the requirements, yeah, we go with that. And
If it doesn't, we'll say no, and if it does, we
Yep.
say yeah.
Because the other two have already met. We got the egress, windows, and doors.
Cool.
So,
All right, sounds like a plan.
yeah.
All right. I'll get my boss on it. She'll find the paperwork.
We won't be your sticking point.
No, just, I mean, of course, the virus, you just pushed everybody
Yep.
on hold.
Yeah, that's for sure.
There you go. Very good.
All right, thank you much.
You're welcome.
Porta potties.
Dick? Mr. Dick Bennett? Mr. Bennett? Yes, sir. Mr. Scott Badger has departed the premises,
All right.
and therefore I need to involve you as a voting member for the remainder of the meeting.
I'm just floored. I'll be there for you.
All right. So,
Okay,
Very controversial topic coming up.
yep, couple
I
of
just, the broadcast on Zoom cuts out every now and then. So I have your picture, but there's nothing going on. So if I look really stupid, just wait a minute, it should come back.
Okay. Everyone,
I could say that just sitting here. Come on.
There,
okay. Almost there,
last one.
almost there. So we have 3 short-term rental applications. One of them is the Sandberg property, which I can take as the first one. This is the one that had the discussion, is if it is rural or commercial.
Yep.
So,
Okay, you want to present or?
well, it's a 3-bedroom, there's no septic on file. So they're questioning, is it residential or rural area? I do have that map available based on what we have. So they are on Old Jackson Road. And when you do the measurements, it's 493.42 feet.
To the front of their lot line.
Front of their lot line to Route 16.
Front meaning there is 462 between their lot and 16?
Correct.
So this gets at the question around,
But the building itself
the
is...
building itself is definitely
definitely
beyond
out.
that. It's
Correct.
the first 6 feet of the lot and within 6 feet of the road.
So this is,
Which lot were you talking about, Sandberg?
yeah.
Okay, I thought you were doing the first one.
Well, I figured this would be the longest discussion. So that's the,
What's the issue?
is it commercial or residential? And it's 500 feet.
Yes.
But the question is it from the house or the front of the property? Right?
It says, as the assessor said, it's the land.
500 feet from 16 is considered commercial, is the ruling?
Yep. Where we have
So it's a
the
corridor.
district, the village district. means that land within 500 feet on either side of the traveled center line
Right. And this is for the
of
center
Route
line.
16
Oh,
and
travel
16.
center line.
Tra- This is
Traveled
center
center line, yes.
Oh.
Yeah, it is the central line. He has rented it from the central line.
To the property though, it didn't say to the house.
It's, what it says is all land.
All land.
All land,
Within,
it means, oh no, that land within 500 feet of either side of the traveled center line of Route 16 and 16A, and all other land between the said routes in town of Jackson. As shown on the official zoning map. Do we have an official zoning map? What knows we do?
That would be in that big giant book out there.
12, 123.
So I think this came up before, didn't it? And we
Well, we've had
We
the
talked
conversation before,
talked about it was not the land, but it's where the building
where the
is. and what
building
you-
on the property is where we decided earlier.
Right, we reduced building, that if the building is in the ruled at residential, it goes by those rules. If it's in the village district, it goes by those rules.
Right, and we also decided earlier that if it was a multi-building property, then we would include the whole property and not separate out based on location. So for example,
Where
Wentworth
there's,
properties where the whole unit, some of the units are outside of the 500 feet, we included everything within.
everything to the 500 feet,
Did you want to see him?
No, I just wanted
it's 30,
It's
it's the,
123.
Yeah, because this is where it came up before, was when the properties were coming up for
hard copy guy.
short-term rentals. This is where we discussed this.
right. So we decided that everything on the Wentworth, because part of it is in the village, that the whole
The
lot,
whole would be,
the whole
yeah.
lot would be in the village.
Yeah.
So by that logic, then you would be the lot in the village. Or if you could say it's the majority of the lot is in the rural residential, and the building in the lot, therefore it should be rural residential. Pick your poison.
It's 123.
Yeah.
All right.
What we don't have is we
Where's 123
don't
on there?
have,
It's not.
Yeah, 123 is actually up here.
Really?
Where the map, yeah.
Ah.
It's on the other side of Old Jackson Road. It's not within that 1-4, so it's, I mean,
I'm sorry?
the map, 123 is where my finger is.
So that's
It's
not.
on, it butts Old Jackson Road, but on this side.
Yes.
So
It's
very little, if none of that
Well, that's what
property.
he's saying,
is
he's
right
got 6 feet of his property
there. Yeah, not even probably.
that belongs in,
Yeah.
is
So which
in.
side of the-
And he's saying, if I have 6 feet in, I'm in for, nickel, I'm in for $1 here. And-
John, if you go up Old Jackson Road, turn up onto it, is he on the left?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
It's on
Because-
the uphill
I
side of
I
it.
just
His
wanted to-
property is right here.
Okay, he's not this one.
No,
No, he's this one.
He's this guy here.
Ah.
that's what I was saying. It's very little is in there, but
So,
It's,
and here's, and
And
the
so does he
distance,
own down to here?
no, he only owns 6 feet that is within 500 feet of this center line. At best. And he's saying the whole house should be. And I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
here's Sarah. So did you measure to the center of the cul-de-sac there?
No, it has to go from here.
Right. So perpendicular from there probably is even less than from here. I don't know where the.
It looks like he took the
No,
property
he's
line
got-
right at Old Jackson Road.
Hmm?
And if his property doesn't hit Old Jackson Road, then it's, because that's where he took it. He
His
took it from
property
the far
is on
side of
Old
Old
Jackson.
Jackson
Yeah.
Road.
He's
This
got 89 feet of frontage on Old Jackson Road.
That's where he's taking it from.
Yeah.
that
This is
property.
lot 123,
This
so
one right here, yeah.
So 500 feet,
I don't have a scale on me, but.
No, the scale's right here. And we're doing this, so you go from 0 up to
500.
500.
About there, good.
Right about there. And you take that from the center line.
Boy, I tell you, he's gonna have to get a surveyor. It's pretty
Oh, okay,
close.
just 6 feet is this the
Right there.
There.
That's what he's saying. But it's not the house, it's 6 feet.
Parallel to that. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean.
It's pretty close.
it's- I mean, it's,
And you know, the road.
if he
is-
says 6 feet,
Yeah.
that could very well be, because, you know, I'm just eyeballing them.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
of course.
Yeah. Ouch.
Just tell him he should be happy he gets 30.
What's that?
He should be happy he gets 30.
Well, he's looking for everything.
Yeah,
He wants to live all around.
because that means he's excluded from all.
I think it's time we take a real look at the difference between the two.
I think the right answer for this at the moment is for us to indicate that it's the 30, and then we review this whole thing, and then make a determination. And if it works out, then you know, he gets more, he gets more. If it's not, he doesn't. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, right now, his house is definitely not in the 500 feet. And he's saying it's not within the 500 feet. He's got 6 feet within the distance of the road. That's not the house.
But it's the property that counts.
Pardon?
It's the property that counts, not the house, right?
Well, that's the question.
Yeah.
John, what you got?
Nothing.
No, oh, you're just making sure you.
Go my base
All
map.
right, I want to make sure, because now you own. You have bought just now.
Right.
When the 500 feet was first established, I mean, I know short-term rentals
Yeah.
were not part of it, but say from a commercial building or a building, is it the property line or where I would have built my building?
The way it's written here in the zoning ordinance, it's that land. It's all, village districts, that land within the 500 feet is the village, within 500 feet, that
So
land.
this,
That's 6 feet, that's in the, and that's
so
it.
he
The rest
can
is
have
not.
more than 30 rentals on the 6 feet?
Yep,
Is that what
I'll
we're
prove
saying?
that.
But not in the house itself?
Right, exactly.
the house is rural residential there, okay, then it's, I thought what we had decided is that if you have the 500-foot line goes through the middle of the lot, say, you know,
Now we have to
semi-equal,
determine.
then it was wherever the building was. And it's where the building is located indicates its use.
That's what I had thought,
Yeah,
we had
that's what
talked
we did
about,
before.
and that's where we were before. But we don't have anything more definitive than that, than their conversation.
No, we don't have any.
Dick, you got anything for us?
No.
All right. So I'd say we go with 30 on this and approve it, or accept it with that indicator. Obviously, we only accept applications, we do not approve them. That's for our select board to do. So
And
we'll
we-
accept, we can accept the application as a rural residential and with an obvious indicator that the applicant has indicated an interest in being eligible for more than 30 rentals.
And he has to, we don't have any advertisement. He hasn't made an
He hasn't made
advertisement
any
yet.
Not until
advertisement, so-
now we get until he gets his
Yeah.
approval.
So, we assume then that he's, this is a new short-term rental, that he's not renting it already.
That, I don't believe so, because he's already listed on.
Yeah, he does, we do have an ad on him. And he
We
says
have an ad on him. He's already added.
from Airbnb. No, that's his license. No, we don't have that. We
Is
have-
it rooms and meals?
It's his tax notification from Airbnb that we're gonna pay for. That's what he supplied with us. So
Okay.
he's applied for Airbnb, but he hasn't applied, or he hasn't placed an ad yet.
Yeah, it says it right here in the thing, 5%
Okay,
advertisement.
I'm confusing him with another one. Sorry.
Yes, that's another one that we have.
What's
to
the
sign.
tax card say for it? Tax card say for, what's it? Tax card?
Okay, I'm still not familiar with reading these things.
See, it says residential. 1F res.
Mhm.
So that's what that means.
Yeah.
It's 6 feet.
Pardon?
6 feet.
Well, his argument, his
about-
property is 6
Yeah.
feet, but not the house. He
Yeah,
knows
no,
the
I
house.
understand that, so he could put some teepees in there
Right.
if it's 6 feet.
Hmm. Maybe a small.
One of those
general-
tiny houses.
We can ask our assessor too, I mean, that's another possibility.
Yeah, I mean, here it's residential, because his house is outside, so we can use that. I'll just make a note when I make the comments to you guys. You'll know when it's coming.
We'll accept the application.
For 30 rentals, it'll be in my comments that we're accepting it for the, as a residential, as a rural residential.
It's a new one. Because it's not grandfathered.
No.
Right.
Motion to accept.
A motion to accept
Yeah, no,
Yeah, second.
and a second?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Dick, was that an aye?
Opposed?
No? Okay.
You're opposed?
I think it's beyond the intent of the words. I think the house is in rural residential, and I think that's the one, but that's just my opinion.
No, that's what that's what we agreed. We agreed that we'd accept the application, but only with the rural residential.
Oh, okay, thank you. I didn't have that clarity.
Do you want to change?
I withdraw my opposition.
Okay.
Okay.
This is easily defended too.
I'm sorry?
I said the decision is easily defended too because
Yeah.
of the tax assessor.
No.
what's on the tax card?
Yeah, right,
Next card says residential.
yeah.
Okay, the next one that I would like to bring up is the narrow one, which again, I'm going opposite, that's the last one on the list.
Okay.
They have a 2-bedroom building permit and 2-bed tax card. They're advertising for 3 bedrooms. And we have a copy of the ad from there. It's pretty clear.
Is this Dundee Road?
No.
Middle Mountain.
Middle
It's
Mountain.
Mountain.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going the opposite direction only because I want to take care of the hard ones out of the way.
He's really messing everything up. He went for the middle one first, then this last one second, and then he's going for the first one last.
I'll change Julie. I'll take Julie's order when
We're
she
just
says it
checking
to
to
me.
make sure we're paying
That's
attention.
right, I'll make sure.
So this is the one on 36 Middle Mountain Trail. It's for Robert and Beth DeNaro. It's a 2-bedroom tax card, 2-bedroom septic, 2-bedroom building permit. So
Correct.
it's basically 2 bedrooms, but it's advertised for 3.
Right.
But it says sleeps.
But it sleeps 6, so they just need to adjust the ad to say it's got 2 bedrooms.
Because it's funny, they say it's 3 bedrooms, 3 beds.
3 double beds.
I don't even know what that means.
And make
So
a
the
motion
com-
not to approve it.
Pardon?
Make a motion not to approve the application.
We can accept the
Right,
application.
accept the application.
And then you guys, in your meeting, approve or disapprove. So you will,
Gotcha.
you can make that vote when you get to see this next week.
And I'll make a comment about the tax card, I mean, the ad.
And we will put in our comments that it's not good. Not entirely kosher the way it's set, and it has requirements to, that may be,
So did they add another bathroom on this? I mean, if it's septic for 2, and they say there's 3,
3 bedrooms.
Might be an error.
Yeah, it could be.
it could be an error, and they're, you
We're
know,
trying to correct that error.
they would take the opportunity then to correct things, and then we would adjust their property card
Yeah,
accordingly, and if they did that without the proper permits and all that good stuff, then we wouldn't know about it.
right.
Yeah, it's 2 bedroom, 2 bath. Okay, so that's not.
So, yeah, I mean, if they all of a sudden they have a magic third bath,
No, it doesn't necessarily need it.
pardon?
It's the number of bedrooms, not the number of bathrooms.
Right, but for septic, septic does affect, what you have for a septic system may be affected by the bathrooms, and if they add an extra bedroom with that bathroom possibly. that-
Yeah, I mean, the way I think just the way the calculations are done is that you have a bedroom, then you assume that for every bedroom you have X amount of use,
Yeah.
which would be whether everybody's using the same bathroom
Yeah.
or whether everybody has their own bathroom. It's probably still the same amount of water going down.
Mm.
Okay. And the last one,
Wait a second, do we need to approve or disapprove that?
oh, I'm sorry, I didn't.
We need to go through our formality, please.
That's okay.
Do I have a motion to accept the application with our duly noted notes?
Yes.
I have a motion to accept.
I'll second.
Have a second. All in favor of accepting the application?
Aye.
Right.
Any opposed? Hearing none. We're gonna go to the easy one last?
Yes, because everything is easy.
Dessert.
Okay.
It's a 3 bedroom. This one's the opposite. This one has 3 bedrooms on their tax card and building permit, but they advertise 2 bedrooms. So
And
everything else is in order.
Well, they can't do that.
Not allowed, no.
that's okay.
At only $96 a night. Yeah.
It's a deal.
So any discussion? No discussion? No discussion. Do I have a motion to accept the application?
Yes.
Jim, I have a motion to accept, second.
I'll second.
Sarah seconds. All in
But only to
favor?
accept the application.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
That's the last agenda.
That was our last agenda item. Dick, everybody can see you on the screen. However, I see you have your cap on already.
It's my Celtics cap.
Right.
I have a motion to adjourn.
Aye.
Make a motion.
Oh, I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor? We're done. Thank you very much, and we are 6 minutes early. Thank you very much. Well done, guys.
I do have a question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have a question. There was a deed left here on, was anybody expecting to pick up a deed when they came tonight?
This is R 18, 4041. No, this is the